Dear viewers, welcome to a new episode of The Professor. Today's story is not about land predators. Today we're diving into the ocean to talk about the first and most feared predator of the sea. This is the Professor introducing the star of our story, the shark, the fish that swims not only in the water, but also in the nightmares of people who love summer and the beach. The reason some people hesitate to put on a swimsuit and jump in. The shark, my friend, is among the top living killers in the water. In oceans and seas, in coastal waters and the deep, in salt water and even fresh water. From the North Pole to the South Pole, they're like stray dogs of the sea, meat eaters that circle around us, with jaws built for hunting, and a constant chance of attack. A real chance, not just imagination. News of shark attacks fills newspapers and popular stories. And maybe the most famous one happened in the summer of 1916. When a young American man named Charles was spending his vacation with his family at a hotel near the Atlantic Ocean in New Jersey. Before dinner, he went out for a short walk with his dog. The dog kept playing on the shore. Charles decided to cool off in the water for a bit. After a short while, Charles suddenly started screaming in absolute terror. People walking along the beach, eating snacks and drinking cold juice, heard a cry for help mixed with the sound of the waves. They thought he was calling his dog, but they quickly realized something was wrong, that he might be drowning or in serious trouble. Lifeguards rushed into the water to save him and pull him back to shore. But it was too late. It was already over. Charles had been attacked by a great white shark. The attack caused massive bleeding, so severe that he died before reaching the shore. 5 days later, another shark attack happened, this time on a Swiss captain, near the same beach where the first incident took place. The water, my friend, turned red with blood. Screams filled the air, and panic spread among the people. Does the story end here? Of course not. In the days following those two attacks, another victim of the shark appeared, a man who jumped in to rescue someone else, trying to save him. But he was killed too, by the jaws of the same shark. For deaths, my friend, in just 12 days. In July 1916, a truly rare and unprecedented series of shark attacks. Back then, most biologists thought a shark's bite couldn't really kill a human. After all, it's a creature made of cartilage, no bones, just like the cartilage in your nose, my friend. How could it be deadly? But this shocking series of attacks became the first recorded fatal shark attacks in American history. It caused huge fear and shock among people. For a long time afterward, beaches were closed, and the story was everywhere in the newspapers. The American government realized they had to act. They brought in scientists and researchers to study these creatures and the danger they posed, to understand how a species, previously underestimated, could be so deadly. A shark can grow up to 6 meters long and weigh over a ton. Not only does it have one of the strongest bites in the animal kingdom, but it also tears its prey apart by shaking its head to slice through the flesh. And, my friend, even when we try to forget, the media reminds us with a new incident happening here or there. Now, someone started thinking and saying, why spend all this money studying them and exhausting researchers, when we could just kill them all? Kill all the sharks, no more fear, no more tension, and we jump into the water freely, splash around however we like, and life goes on, perfectly fine. But let's ask the question, my friend, what would happen if you woke up one day and didn't see a single shark? Let me tell you, the famous shark from the New Jersey incident I told you about, the great white shark. That's just one species out of more than 400 types of sharks, and especially the big ones. They're at the very top of the ocean's food chain. So you see, sharks eat fish slightly smaller than themselves. Medium-sized fish, like tuna, for example. Think about it. All that muscle on the shark exists to catch tuna. And the tuna itself feeds on smaller fish, and those smaller fish feed on plankton. It all works like this, smoothly, for millions of years. Now let's go back to our question. What would happen if these sharks disappeared? God forbid. My friend, medium-sized fish like tuna would increase in number because no one is eating them. Then they would eat more of the smaller fish, and as a result, there wouldn't be enough fish to eat the plankton, so the plankton would take over the surface of the water. Someone might say, so what's the problem, Professor? Let the plankton take over. No, my friend. When plankton overgrow, it can harm everyone. It can disrupt the balance of the ecosystem, block sunlight, and reduce oxygen in the water. Colorful coral reefs rely on sunlight to perform photosynthesis, and if it's blocked, the corals can die and eventually turn into coral rock. Someone might then say, "So what's the problem, Professor? Let them turn into rock." But it's not that simple. Losing the living coral destroys the entire reef ecosystem. My dear viewers, coral reefs aren't just beautiful. Yes, they attract diverse and tourists from famous spots around the world. But, my friend, their importance goes far beyond that. They are used in medicines, and even more importantly, they help maintain the balance of the ecosystem. If they disappear, many marine species could vanish too. My friend, the environment is all connected and circular. Remove one part, and the whole system gets disrupted. And it doesn't stop there. When a shark finishes its role in the ecosystem and dies, its remains become an important food source for other marine creatures, like orcas, other types of sharks, and even octopuses. Without shark remains, those creatures can face starvation, because one of the main sources of food in nature is the bodies of other animals. For life to continue, some creatures have to die, and it doesn't stop there. You also have species like tiger sharks that live in areas with seagrass. Tiger sharks help control the population of sea turtles that feed on that seagrass. Without God's protection and in the presence of sharks, the seagrass would be overgrazed, destroyed within a year at most, and the turtles would just keep multiplying, slow creatures that do nothing but move around and eat. And this, my friend, would create a massive problem, not just for the balance of the ocean, but for life on land as well. Scientists say that between 50 and 80% of the oxygen in our atmosphere comes from the ocean, from seagrass, plankton, algae, and bacteria living in it. Sharks eat the fish that feed on this plankton, and without sharks, those fish would eat everything in front of them. In a very short time, the plankton would disappear, the fish would end up starving, and suddenly you'd have no fish to eat and less oxygen to breathe. What I want to tell you, my friend, is that the ocean isn't complete without sharks. The absence of sharks is a major threat to the ecosystem, especially because, as top predators, they control the density and behavior of their prey. Their presence has been crucial for maintaining the balance of the ecosystem for 400 million years, long before dinosaurs existed and long before the continents took their current shape. Sharks have been around, holding their shape and role in the oceans and seas, which cover 2/3 of your planet. And then you come along, little Homo sapien, thinking you can just get rid of a species that's been around millions of years longer than you, just so you can splash around freely in the water? No, my friend, go ahead, try that in your bathtub at home, see how it works out. And if the environment doesn't grab your attention, let me put it in terms we all understand. Sharks, my friend, are pure money. Shark ecotourism brings in $312 million every year, with tourists paying just to see sharks in their natural habitat. Over $300 million. You might say, what kind of suicidal tourism is this, Professor? People want to escape sharks, not get close to them. And yet, there are people paying hundreds of millions of dollars to sit near this monster. So yes, their presence is important. But seriously, why risk it? If you want adventure, go check out something safer, like the Grand Canyon. My dear viewers, the kind-hearted ones, the curious peoples who can't be blamed for their ignorance. Here's something I haven't told you before, a little surprise. More people die in swimming pools than from shark attacks. Period. You might say, what? Professor, did you just drop a bomb and walk away? And yes, my friend, that's exactly what I did. And it's not because swimming pools are poisonous. You're not swimming in arsenic. The real reason is that shark fatalities are extremely rare. Even though sharks are in our imagination some of the fiercest and most dangerous creatures, the number of their victims is tiny. Out of 8 billion people, barely anyone dies from sharks. So who's the real deadly creature on Earth? The one you always think you're braver than, and might even be sitting next to you right now. No, my friend, it's not the dog, not the cat. It's the mosquito, the tiny killer we all underestimate. Mosquitoes, my dear viewers, are the deadliest killers in this kingdom, claiming around 700,000 human lives every year. After them come animals like snakes, dogs, then bedbugs, and even snails. Can you imagine, my friend? Snails kill more people than sharks. A little later, you have hippos and elephants, taking about 500 lives, then lions, which kill around 22 humans, And at the very bottom of the list, the shark. The New Jersey incident, my friend, that I told you about at the beginning of the episode, was written about by author Peter Benchley, who turned it into a novel called Jaws. Right after the novel came out, the Oscar-winning director Steven Spielberg, still in his early 20s, adapted it into a thriller and horror film, starring a mechanical shark designed to terrorize the audience. The shark prop cost $2 million, after Spielberg had originally thought about training a real shark. The experts laughed at him and said, "There's no such thing." In the movie, the shark stalks human prey, not killing them all at once, but one by one, in terrifying scenes with music that hits straight to the heart. It's a masterpiece, a complete work of art. We used to watch it when we were kids, trembling with fear. And me? After that film, I didn't dare go in the sea for 3 or 4 summers. I'd just watch other people, clutching my chest. Every time we asked Dad if we could go swimming, somehow, by coincidence, the movie was playing on the DVD player. We never knew why. This movie, my friend, was a landmark in Hollywood history. It was one of the first films to surpass $100 million in box office revenue, won 3 Oscars, and became a cultural phenomenon. Its success tapped into a primal human fear, the idea that something hidden or lurking could suddenly strike, like the fear of a monster reaching out from under your bed. After the movie, people at beaches and pools experienced a real sense of tension. Even the tagline warned, "Don't go swimming until you've seen Jaws," and many did, because after watching it, most didn't dare enter the water for a long time. The film left audiences talking about the fear and anxiety they felt every time they went near the ocean. My friend, let me tell you, and maybe you already know, the image of sharks that the movie created is not real. It only exists in the film and has nothing to do with reality. The movie gave sharks a terrifying reputation, portraying them as mindless predators that kill their victims and stalk them like serial killers. Its huge success helped shape the general perception of sharks, making them one of the most feared creatures in the animal kingdom. Experts call this phenomenon the Jaws effect. The influence the film had in amplifying our fear of the unknown and our desire to assign blame when things go wrong. And, my friend, we humans are emotional creatures, not purely logical ones. The movie linked sharks to our emotional memory and shaped the way we think about them. First, it made people believe that sharks attack humans on purpose. Second, it suggested that if a shark bites, it's inevitably a deadly bite. This has influenced the way the media covers sharks. When news outlets report on sharks, they focus on how violent they are and highlight attacks on humans. Between 2000 and 2010, about 60% of shark-related news stories focused on shark attacks because, as they say, blood sells. What most people imagine about sharks, my friend, is very different from reality. For example, a 2004 study found that the words people most associate with sharks are negative: danger, fear, death, killing, blood, predation, terror, and ugliness. But this perception is based on a myth, a purely artistic image created by a director and an author, not reality. Want to know the truth, my dear viewers? The truth comes from people who work with sharks and know them: tourism guides, researchers, anyone who has spent time with sharks. They say sharks are like most animals with large brains. Each individual has a unique personality. Some prefer to avoid humans, while others are friendly and even enjoy human company. And yes, some will let people gently touch them, almost like a pet. Some researchers and divers even call them sea babies, like cute, almost pet-like animals of the ocean. Most species of sharks can't harm humans at all. Out of more than 400 species, only about 30 have ever been recorded attacking people. My dear viewers, not all predators are dangerous. The 2 largest species, the basking shark and the whale shark, only eat plankton in the sea. They don't hunt. They open their mouths to filter food, and humans, my friend, are simply not on their menu. You're not even on their radar. A shark's diet is mainly based on fish, invertebrates, and sometimes marine mammals. But sharks, like humans, are curious creatures. When something sparks their curiosity, they often test bite, the way children explore things to understand them. This is their only way of figuring out what something is. They don't have hands. Most interactions between humans and sharks happen because we enter the areas where they live, and sometimes, unfortunately, these encounters turn into attacks. Let's look at these attacks in numbers. In 2019, the International Shark Attack File recorded 140 attacks on humans. About half of these happened when divers entered shark habitats and provoked them. Fatalities were under 2% of these attacks. By comparison, the fatality rate from human-on-human attacks, like assaults on homeless people in the streets, is around 19%. Shark bites are extremely rare. My friend, this shows that sharks are not a major threat to humans at all. If we calculated the probability of being killed by a shark, just like we do for other causes of death, the number would be extremely small. Now let's look at the opposite side. How many sharks die because of humans? Many studies have looked into this, the most notable published in Marine Policy. Researchers estimated that humans kill nearly 100 million sharks every year. And that's a conservative number. The real figure could be as high as 273 million sharks annually. Can you imagine that? At the very least, about 11,400 sharks are killed every hour for their meat, cartilage, liver oil, and fins. Yes, my friend, that's what we should be afraid of. There's a massive global market for shark fins, used in soup in many Asian countries, as well as in places like the US and Canada. The problem with the international shark fin trade is that it's largely unregulated, and much of it happens illegally. It's the single biggest reason sharks are hunted. Around 73 million sharks are killed every year just for their fins. And the way this is done is extremely cruel. Most fishermen cut off the fins and throw the rest of the body back into the water. Why? Because fins are small and easy to store. Taking the whole shark would cost space and money. But for the shark, those fins are essential. It cannot survive without them. Unlike most other fish, sharks don't have what's called a swim bladder, a gas-filled organ that helps fish stay balanced in the water without sinking. Sharks maintain their balance differently, using their fins and hydrodynamics. They have to keep swimming constantly. The side fins act like airplane wings. Just as a plane's wings are angled to create lift by redirecting air, a shark's fins redirect water to keep it stable and rising in the ocean. Imagine taking the wings off an airplane and trying to fly. It won't work. The same goes for a shark. Without its fins, it simply can't swim properly. Finning operations cause sharks to sink to the ocean floor, where they either starve to death, bleed out, or get eaten by other animals. These practices have put about 100 shark species, around 25% of all sharks, at risk of extinction because humans are killing them much faster than they can reproduce. The irony, my friend, is that the animals often seen as the most terrifying in the ocean are actually the least deadly to humans. In their deadliest year, sharks killed only 12 people. But we kill that same number of sharks in just 4 seconds, and that's what a shark would naturally produce in a year. Humans, my friend, are naturally afraid of what they don't understand, and that fear is often their biggest obstacle to understanding the unknown. This fear is amplified by a mistaken perception of creatures that are actually harmless. Many people imagine sharks as bloodthirsty killers that hunt humans deliberately and with cold-blooded intent. In reality, the truly bloodthirsty creatures, the ones who kill with intent and cruelty, are humans themselves. According to 2018 statistics, humans killed over 400,000 of their own species, not including war casualties. In comparison, sharks killed 6 people that year. Of course, may those 6 rest in peace, but this shows the scale of the effect. In reality, we often project our own cruelty onto sharks, imagining them as evil humans, and that's unfair. They're simply not human. It's also unfair to judge an entire species based on a single event. The New Jersey incident that inspired Jaws was unique in history. It had never happened before and hasn't happened since. It was driven by unusual tidal changes that pushed the shark toward the shore. Stress and unusual events can affect any creature, from stray dogs to humans. For context, dogs alone kill about 35,000 people every year. Sharks remain mysterious because studying them is expensive and research is limited. But as science advances and we learn more about them, we realize that killing them or ignoring their role in our oceans threatens not only their survival, but ours too. By simply existing and playing their ecological role, sharks help maintain balance, protect our food sources, and support the continuation of life on Earth. But the best way to overcome these irrational fears and hate is through knowledge. Knowledge from the episodes we've shared and the ones still to come. Subscribe and welcome to the student team, where your friend the professor will explain everything to you.